Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Arrow's Season 8, the final season, the Bon Voyage season, whatever you want to call it. And this is going to be my review for episode 5 for this season, otherwise entitled Proknost. I think that's how they pronounce it in the episode. If I'm wrong, who knows? Because I was pronouncing it Proknost or Proshnost for like 2 weeks. Now I feel like a bit of an idiot. But yeah, I guess that's how it's pronounced. But of course, before we get into the rest of the video, spoiler alert, I guess. Not much really happened in this episode, which is a bit unfortunate. Outside of the ending, I guess, really. I guess some stuff towards the beginning. But I guess still a spoiler just for, I guess, just how we go about doing things in these videos. But of course, last episode was the fallout, I guess, from the previous episode where Mia, William, and Connor all got transported back to present day, and yeah, episode 4 was dealing with that. So all of them having a conversation, some crying, some drama, some stuff, and they dealt with it, I guess. But of course, towards the end of that episode, or actually right at the end of the episode, we had Laurel approached by the Monitor, who offered her a deal. Like, yo, I can bring back your Earth, I can bring it back, but all I need you to do is betray Oliver Queen. And we were left on the edge of our seats, like, oh my god, how are they going to go about that? I felt in this, I think they did the right choice character-wise, but I think a lot of people might have been maybe a bit let down in regards to what happened. Like, oh my god, what's going to happen? Some epic thing? Nothing really happened. It was more just a decision, like a moral decision by Laurel. That was about it. Now, the first thing I do want to mention, because I've been a big critic of it, now, this still wasn't fantastic. It was still just average and mediocre, but Mia was better this episode. The portrayal of Mia was much better. Her interactions with Oliver were less dramatic in, like, the bad sense. It's still a bit cringe, which is trying to be like edgy and hard, but I think that's going to improve as the weeks and episodes go along. But in saying that, there's only 2 episodes left of Arrow until Crisis, and then after that, it's the spin-off episode where Mia's going to be the lead character, and then episode 10 where, well, Oliver's presumably dead to the public. Maybe not properly dead, but at least dead to the public, and maybe some other people that we know of. So hopefully there's some improvement in those in episodes 6 and 7, because Mia's at least a focus in the Supergirl episode. Which is the first episode of Crisis, but that's what I have to wait and see. She, as I said, improved in this episode, but nothing to make me start applauding. But we did see Oliver train Mia, like a lot of the stuff that we saw maybe in the pilot episode of Arrow, and also some other elements here and there. Like obviously the main one was the whole tennis balls thing. Obviously we do get some like focus on like the specialty arrows, and we even see like Mia using them, which is strange because we really didn't see Oliver use like a ridiculous amount of specialty arrows or even that much focus on specialty arrows in the past. It's weird we get it in that scene, but this to me, and even like some like the fighting training sequences, literally just felt like set up for the spin-off, and I'm really not liking how they're doing that this season. How this episode in particular, and even last episode as well, half of the episode is feeling like a spin-off, a backdoor pilot for the spin-off. And look, I think the spin-off is already a show where everyone's like not overly joyous about it. Like they might watch it, I'll watch it, I'll give it a go, but I'm not like that's the show I would want to see. I'd rather them do a different character, like introduce a character in Crisis and spin them off into their own show. This just feels like it's going to be Arrow 2.0, but not be as good. So it just feels like backdoor pilot stuff in a non-backdoor pilot, if that makes sense. So hopefully there's no more of that in the next 2 episodes before Crisis. But we do see Lila meeting with Laurel. Now this is a bit of a big mic drop moment for Laurel, because she was expecting to meet up with the Monitor, but Lila was sent by the Monitor. So Laurel learns everything, and this is a bad move for Lila come the end of the episode. If you think about it, maybe the Monitor should have just came. We'll come back to that towards the end of the video. But Laurel pretty much just has to get the plans for, the plans before Oliver and his team do. And lucky for Laurel, she's a part of that team, so it's a good undercover spot for her. Now, throughout the episode, we do get a bit of a side story, which involves Diggle going to recruit Jason, aka Roy Harper, from the mechanic that he's usually at in regards to his, that's attached to his alter ego of Jason. Now, Roy is obviously reluctant to join the fight, but is convinced, and like it's the whole thing is like advertised as like a whole one-off thing. I don't think Roy ever believed that, but he's like, look, I'll just come and help you, because Diggle seemed desperate. Now, they did go to Bialya, I think that's the best way to pronounce it, to get plutonium. Now, Bialya is a made-up country, like a fictional country in the DC Comics universe. So yeah, that's where they went to get the plutonium. Now, Roy brings up, like, oh, I'm going to disappear to a place, like, even William can't find him because of, like, what happened in this episode earlier on. So, obviously, he was alluding to, like, Lian Yu. And this is, well, this didn't cue it, but Diggle then goes on to tell him what he knows about the future and reveals Roy's future to him about him going to Lian Yu, Felicity sending William to track him down, and all the things that happened there. And, of course, revealing to Roy that he was actually able to control his bloodlust in the end, which is, like, the biggest concern for Roy at the current time, like, just being around people and just in this vigilante stuff as well. So one of the messages to Roy here was pretty much dealing with it solo wasn't the way to go about it. It's actually the worst possible thing you could have done. Now, towards the end of the episode, Roy does decide to stick around in Star City. I don't know how often he's going to be here for the next couple of episodes, because next episode's like in some like alternate universe hallucination time travel thing. I don't know which way they're going to go about it, because Quentin Lance is back, so who knows how they go about all of that and if Roy features at all. But maybe in episode 7 he will, and maybe Crisis as well. Like, I guess that was the main thing that Diggle brought him back for, or at least offered, so maybe he sticks around and fights in Crisis as well. We'll have to wait and see. Now, of course, Anatoly Knyazov is back. We're not going to go to Russia and not have Anatoly show back up, so he's back there, and we do head to a fight club in this episode, which I think they call the Bloodbath. I think that's what they referred to it as. Now, Oliver does make a deal to fight to get the whole plans and what they need and stuff like that, and as you'd expect, Oliver does win, but unfortunately, Mia and William showing up, and in particular, Mia being nosy, gets them back to square one, and they lose the plans, and that general gets, he gets shot and he dies. Now, William and Mia complaining about not being involved, and then William going on to say, oh, I saved you and stuff, was stupid, because them coming to the fight club was the reason the plan failed. If they didn't show up, if they just did what they were told and just told to stay there, none of that happens. Like, what the hell were they doing? Why were they complaining? It was literally their fault. And also, when Mia and Oliver were fighting towards the end, did they steal some of Nash Wells' smoke balls to get out of that fight from the cage? Because I guess like they got out of there really quickly, and the cage wasn't necessarily like just a small cage. I bet Nash Wells was going through his inventory, going, "Hey, what the hell happened here? I'm missing some balls. Where'd they go?" But of course, throughout this like sort of not ending thing, because it wasn't the last scene, but you know, this end fight scene, if you want to call it, Laurel actually doesn't follow the orders and go through taking the plan and everything. So she goes against the Monitor's order, going against getting her Earth back. Maybe she didn't believe it was ever going to happen or something along those lines. But yeah, it doesn't follow the orders. So a bit of an edgy move from Laurel there. But of course, the last scene for the episode was Diggle and Oliver actually finding out that Lila is working with the Monitor, and they, along with Laurel, do get tranquilized. And this is what I was talking about earlier on, where how like Lila was sent to meet with Laurel. You know, if the Monitor went in the first place, none of this would have happened. But maybe the Monitor was busy. Maybe he was cooking, couldn't leave. Look, I can't leave the stovetop. There's bacon on there. It's gonna catch fire if I leave. Just Lila, please go do it. So maybe that's what happened. Who knows? But this will be interesting to see what happens next episode. As I said, Quentin Lance is back, but they do get tranquilized, so maybe it's just like a hallucination, but somehow they share the hallucination. Or maybe they do get sent back in time, or maybe it's another Earth. But they've said that there's no more multiverse travel, but maybe them getting transported there doesn't count as multiverse travel, because they're not the ones that actually travel, they were just placed there. I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see how they bring back Quentin Lance. I haven't watched the promo for next week, so I don't know how he comes back. Maybe he just gets brought over. I'm not too sure, but it'll be interesting to see what goes on. But overall, this episode wasn't bad. Like, that's the thing, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I still feel like the first 3 episodes were so strong, and ever since like the whole future thing got brought in, and it feels like that they are trying to pretty much set up the spin-off, and a lot of the time of the episode is spent, you know, setting it up, or at least planting seeds for it. I feel like the episode's faltered because of it. I saw people giving it, like I asked before I watched it on the episode, I asked on Twitter, like, what do people think? And a lot of people were giving me like 9s and 8.5s. I'm like, I understand it comes down to personal opinion, but I just don't understand how you can be a fan of Arrow and think that's an 8.5 or a 9 episode. To me, this is probably like a 7, but I just feel like this episode is super forgettable. I feel like nothing happened outside of like trying to progress Mia's character and trying to say like, oh, Mia can do what Oliver does. But Oliver's had 13 years of experience, 5 on the island, 8 off the island, and he's fought aliens, he's fought Nazis from another Earth. You know what I mean? Mia is not on Oliver's level. I don't know why I'm trying to prove that. Is it literally just to make your job easier on the spin-off? It feels really odd what they're doing here. As I said, it's not bad, it's just not good. And that's my biggest issue. This is the last season of Arrow. We now only have 2 episodes left. come on, you got to be doing a better job than this. But yeah, guys, sorry for being negative towards the end there, but I was just being true. Overall, the episode wasn't that bad. It's just little things, actually, well, certain things are just annoying when they're not. I just don't feel they're placed right. Like, this shouldn't be in a final season. But if you enjoyed the video and just want to show your support, be sure to drop a like on the video to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.